For those of you feeling used and abused by American internet service providers, some relief might be on the way. I'm talking about a bill called the Consumer Choice in Online Video Act. It's been submitted by Democratic Senator Jay Rockefeller, and it aims to fight back against a variety of different ways that ISPs are overcharging consumers and trying to block out rival online video sources or services. And so we've got three different parts of this that we're going to talk about very briefly, and then we're going to respond, because obviously this has a lot in store for us since we are an online video service. The first is that they're going to make it illegal to block, degrade, or otherwise impair any content provided by an online video distributor, or provide benefits in the transmission of the video content of any company affiliated with the internet service provider through specialized services or other means, which basically means that they're going to make it so that an ISP can't just say, oh yeah, YouTube, we're cutting the bandwidth that YouTube goes to our people by 50% at night, or if we don't like Hulu, or if we don't like Netflix. Basically, to make it a lot harder for them to discriminate against those services. Furthermore,
let me ask you, John.
Feel free to jump in.
What would be the incentive for make people understand why this would ever happen? Why would somebody ever slow down YouTube? Why would somebody ever slow down Netflix? What's the advantage to that company to do that to a popular service?
There are at least two main advantages. One is that at peak hours, Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, and things like that, that's the majority of all internet traffic. And for the ISPs to keep up with all that traffic, which is just surging over the past few years, they would have to make major infrastructure improvements that they don't want to make because it's extremely expensive. If you lower people's access to it, you lower what bandwidth is required, you don't need to make those improvements to the infrastructure.
Okay, but that's an honest reason, at least.
Yeah, so you get that, and you might say, hey, listen, shouldn't Netflix then share on the cost, et cetera. But the other issue, Ben, is that Comcast might want to, or Verizon might want to compete with, and they all compete with each other to some degree, but they might want to compete with Netflix, in which case they say, well, if you have Netflix, it's going to be really slow, but if you have my product, it's going to be really fast. And once they are allowed to go down that road, then they can say, well, those Young Turks who've been a total pain in our ass with all their, anti-corporate talk or whatever it is, or The Blaze, Glenn Beck's thing's been a pain in our ass with their crazy conspiracy theories, whatever it is, we're going to slow them down a little bit, right? And the guys who are pro whatever their agenda happens to be, usually just make more money, those are going to speed up. So that's a lot of power over the internet to give specific companies. And that's what Jay Rockefeller is trying to prevent here. And you don't have to be a Rockefeller to help a fella.
Exactly.
But in this case, he is.
Oh yeah, we gotta get rid of that. That's not the right one. But also one final thing is it's a form of sort of digital extortion. They say, oh Netflix, you're using up a lot of our bandwidth. We're gonna cut you unless you pay us a huge amount of extra money in this next contract that we sign.
Right.
And so they're trying to get paid both by people who want faster connections because Netflix is going so slow, but also directly from the video providers. So there's that. There's also, you're probably very familiar with data caps at this point if you do any torrenting or even Netflix. So he goes on to say that usage-based billing systems, commonly known as data caps, may not be used in a way that deters competition from unaffiliated online video distributors that may be in competition with the ISP or its affiliate services. And so basically you can't just have someone's entire internet usage for the month be taken up by a couple of Netflix videos or something like that. So there's that, and then finally, in terms of having sort of truth in pricing, normally you'll sign up for a contract with one of these online ISPs, and they'll say, oh, you're going to pay $50 a month, and then you get your bill, and it's $65, $70, and it's impossible to find out ahead of time what it's actually going to be. So he says that ISPs would have to tell consumers before they purchase services what the actual monthly charge will be, including all fees and costs associated with the internet service.
You know what's great?
Which I think is great.
What's great about this, among other things, Jay Rockefeller's 76 years old.
Well, so that's a relevant part of the story. He's not going to run for office again. So normally when I see something like this, I'm like, hey, good, you're doing the right thing, love it, right? And then also, in the recent pro-choice bill that Blumenthal and some of the other Democrats put forward, they know that's not going to pass the House. Sometimes, and I don't know if Blumenthal is doing it, but sometimes they do it just to raise money, right? They're like, look at all the wonderful things I'm doing for you progressives. I'm going to raise money. I'm going to run again, yada, yada. But Rockefeller's not running again. He really means it.
Yeah.
This is something he wants to get done before he leaves office. And I think it's a great bill in 18 different ways. I mean, on the last thing that John mentioned, they got to tell you if you're going to come in with a bill for $818.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you did one too many Netflix movies. Ha-ha. And that wound up being this much.
Right. Hope you like The Expendables too. It was $600.
Right, exactly. And that's what he's trying to prevent. And the great irony here is that it's Rockefeller, who I understand through the internet, plans to kill 90% of us, along with the Rothschilds.
Oh, is that
That's
right?
one of the conspiracy theories.
I didn't know.
The Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. They're going old school.
Yeah. So there are also a number of other provisions. The bill is 64 pages long. Now, we don't know at this point if it's going to be able to pass. Apparently, there's a lot of opposition from people who are getting huge amounts of money from the people who are trying to throttle your internet
What I would like
use.
to see is you know, and they'll always find a way, but what's that argument going to be? Like, what's your argument going to be to your constituents?
Socialism. You're restricting free market's ability to determine the price of things and blah, blah, blah.
Liberty, my friend.
And Rand
Liberty.
something.
Right.
something.
Yeah.
So there's that. But also, and to just give a little bit of credit to John McCain, and this is sort of an indication of the trouble that they might have in passing this, John McCain has recently been pushing for an ability to make it so that your TV service is not bundled. So if you just want HBO, you can just buy HBO. If you just want ESPN, you can just buy ESPN. And apparently it's been impossible for him to pass that.
So that's a good bill by McCain. A lot of people don't want the 500 packages, the 500 channels, and then pay for all that 500 channels, right? The cable company's like, I don't think so, big guy. So
Yeah, but there's a very different issue. I mean, I like that issue, I guess, but I understand why you wouldn't want to split everything apart. It would also kill a lot of channels.
It would.
yeah. And
Maybe
so look,
those channels should be killed if you let the market decide.
I don't want any TV channel killed. I think that every TV channel should live.
forever.
Life is great with more TV channels.
Yeah, I'm thinking of bringing current back.